It is with such honor for me to introduce Leslie Boggs, our 56th President of National PTA, the nation's oldest and largest child advocacy association. And joining her is our 57th President of National PTA, Anna King. This is a really special treat to have both of them together. Leslie and Anna have led our association through so much over the last 2 years, and I know it has not been easy. They have been a source of leadership and support for us in Washington State PTA and are as kind and caring as they come. Welcome to both of you, and we look forward to hearing what you have to say today.
Hello, everyone. And, although we're unable to join you in person, we are so grateful that technology enables us to gather virtually, right? And so thank you so much for having us here today with you at the Washington State PTA Annual Convention. I love your convention's theme, the power of connection. So I think that's right. And I'm saying that because that doesn't seem like that's what it is, but maybe it is. As I look at what I've got before me, but know that I appreciate everything that you do and that you are all very unique and valued as individuals. And so I want you to really think about who you are, because each of us, as I said, we are individuals with unique bodies, hearts, and souls. We have different interests, passions, and traditions. Yes, we are unique, but we are also connected. We are connected to one another in more ways than you or I could count. No one walks through this world alone, no matter how lonely we may feel sometimes. As American novelist Herman Melville once said, we cannot live only for ourselves. 1,000 fibers connect us with our fellow men and amount those fibers as sympathetic threads. Our actions run as causes and come back to us as effects. That brings me to a term I'd like to introduce you to. Community. We are in the community and we are unified. As PTA members, we share common values and goals. We are united in purpose and mission. We care about one another. We are a community. Everyone plays a crucial role. A true community is not about being geographically close to someone or being part of the same social media site or friend group. It's about feeling connected and responsible for what happens to one another. We often call you our PTA family. And I want you to know that we really mean it with all of our heart. Anna and I love you and care for you deeply. And what's more, we put our care into action as a group.
Absolutely, Leslie. PTAs are uniquely positioned to quickly pivot and provide desperately needed support to school communities that we serve. So when the COVID-19 pandemic tossed out all of our best laid plans, PTAs across the country sprang into action. At the start of the pandemic, National PTA moved quickly to repurpose event grant funding so PTAs could use it for immediate COVID-19 relief. We created a COVID-19 resource bank with ideas and tips and news articles to help PTAs leaders transition to a virtual world and to help our families transition to working, teaching, and learning from home. Across the nation, our PTAs help communities stay connected, even while social distancing. During the pandemic, when the fight for racial justice was once again inflamed, we reaffirmed our commitment to diversity, equity, and inclusion. We issued a position statement on addressing institutional racism and recommitted ourselves to ensuring that diversity, equity, and inclusion are part of everything that we do at PTA. When we say every child, one voice, we really do mean it. As the pandemic has continued, it has shown a light on the existing inequities in our country. As PTA members, we believe that every child has the right to an equitable public education. And I am so proud to say that our advocacy work over the last year has reflected that belief. We have focused on 5 main COVID-19 policy issues: dedicated funding earmarked for public schools, addressing the digital divide, supporting students with disabilities and online learning with the services and supports that they all need, securing investments in family engagement, and ensuring students have ongoing access to school meal benefits, which is extremely important.
National PTA signed on to almost 20 different letters to Congress, raising our voice alongside other education associations and coalitions. And you, our incredible PTA advocates, use the National PTA Takes Action Network to send over 10,000 emails to your members of Congress, urging them to pass COVID-19 relief packages. I cannot stress enough how powerful our PTA voice is. As constituents, we have so much sway over our elected officials, and we are using it. We are advocating to safeguard the health and safety of our nation's children and make sure students, families, and schools have what they need during this challenging time. When the COVID-19 pandemic first hit in late March 2020, we knew PTAs were in a perfect position to provide immediate help. So National PTA reached out to our sponsors, TikTok, Google, Bear Fund, Mathnasium, Life 360, Norton LifeLock, and Huntington Ingalls Industries. There's a team there working for us. They had provided $260,000 in grant funding for PTAs to host events, which obviously we had to cancel. And our sponsors agreed to allow those PTAs to repurpose those grants for COVID-19 relief. So right away, over 33,000 students and families received support from PTAs across this great nation. But of course, we couldn't stop there. National PTA then secured $2 million from TikTok as a beneficiary of the Community Relief Fund and awarded that funding to hundreds of PTAs across the country. And those PTAs have used those funds to support students and their families in social and emotional well-being, resources for distance teaching and learning, bridging the digital divide, and addressing food insecurity.
Absolutely, Leslie, and thank you for saying that, because right here in Washington State, Lopez Island PTSA became a huge source of community and connection during the darkest days of our pandemic. They used their COVID-19 PTA Relief Fund grant to build an outdoor socially distanced classroom to teach small kids of kids in divided off rooms. How amazing is that? Their school community came together to make lightweight individual desks with stools for their kids to use. They are also piloting to use their local teepees as well. But they wouldn't stop there and couldn't stop there. They also made a games library for students and families to use to increase family bonding and to reduce screen time. Or how about the Olympic View Elementary PTA? They were concerned about food security in their school community due to the pandemic-related job loss. So they used their COVID-19 PTA relief grant to purchase dedicated food pantry shed where families can drive up and receive pantry items. They've also partnered with the North Whitby Help House to purchase shelf-stable food for their families and bought tables, storage containers, and reusable banners. All of this has allowed PTAs to host pop-up food distribution venues where many of the families live to reduce transportation difficulties. Oh my, isn't that amazing? Remarkable, just admit it, it's remarkable. That is what PTA does. And those are just two examples of the amazing work that has been happening. The challenges this last year brought us, the pandemic, a racial reckoning, and more, have proved that our communities are fragile but resilient. This is our community. If there's anything this past year has taught us, it's that our strength is in our ability to take care of one another. So, what do we do next? As our country begins to recover from the pandemic, our students and families will need more PTA. Well, they will need more PTA, but we will also need them as well, more now than ever before. The next few months will be crucial for our nation and for the future of our association. Here's our roadmap. First, we must hold our elected officials accountable for their promises to invest in families. For 124 years, National PTA has been the conscience of our country when it comes to issues that impact our children and youth. Now's the time for us to be at the table and not on the menu. Any school reopening plan can and should involve the parent and teacher voice.
That is so true, Anna. You know, your grassroots perspective is extremely valuable, even essential, to elected officials and their staff. They use your stories, your praise, and your complaints to make change happen. You are the boots on the ground. Without your eyes and ears, how would policymakers know what programs are serving our children well and which ones are failing them. Your voice is more powerful than you would think. I am so proud to be a part of you. Next, we must commit ourselves to creating more supportive school communities. All students, including students from historically marginalized populations, have the right to a quality, equitable education in a safe, supportive, and inclusive school. We know that every student, regardless of their race, religion, ability, or socioeconomic status, can reach their full potential when the school environment is one in which they feel truly valued. It's no secret that this pandemic has shone a light on and exacerbated the mental health needs of our children and youth. According to a survey by Education Trust, 8 in 10 parents say their children are experiencing heightened stress levels right now. Your PTA can have a role in mitigating the stress by encouraging your school to have a mental health policy in place. You can also help by providing social, emotional learning resources to families so they can support this critical practice at home. Finally, we must invite more people into our PTA family. Over the last year, I have proudly watched the efforts of our countless PTA members across this great country, and they all have one thing in common to say about combating the hardships of the pandemic. They said that connection, community, is a saving grace. As Speaker Leo Buscaglia, I always butcher his name, once said, "Too often we underestimate the power of a touch, a smile, a kind word, a listening ear, an honest compliment, or the smallest act of caring, all of which has the potential to turn a life around." I am proud to say that our PTAs are centers of connection and care. So this upcoming school year, I challenge you to ask at least 3 people to join your PTA. You never know who may desperately need the support of your community. My PTA family, Anna and I want to leave you with one final thought. Our kids, family members, and friends need us to fight for them more over the next few months than ever before. And you know, it's a good thing that's what we're founded to do. Please know that National PTA stands ready to help you with training, resources, and grant funding available on our website, pta.org. You know, we've got a national convention coming up, so I would be remiss if I didn't invite you to come out, and it's in June. You know, our registration fee is only $75. If you've got our friends, like 5, get them together, register for $60 a piece. We've got some great speakers coming up. John Maxwell is a world-renowned leadership coach. He is my mentor and leadership coach. You will love hearing from this gentleman. He is phenomenal. We also have the Teacher of the Year. She's going to teach you, and she comes from a PTA school, which is absolutely phenomenal. And you know, we are finalizing contracts with Sarah Michelle Gellar, who speaks passionately about mental health. And then there is a TikTok famous dad, and he's known as the Talk Box Dad, Jason Litton. And so we're trying to finalize his contract as well. So come join us, network with the leaders across our great country. Lots of learning experiences for you to come and be a part of. And so join Anna and I as we transition out of leadership roles. And I will tell you, our association is in great hands with Anna's leadership. I've worked beside her and walked beside her these last 2 years as we've grown closer over these years. She's a phenomenal leader, and our association is in great hands. And so, Anna, what are your closing thoughts?
Well, thank you for that, Leslie. So I'm following this amazing and inspiring woman that you see on the screen that has committed herself, gave a lot of herself to help our association keep moving forward during this pandemic. Who would have knew that everything that we're doing right now is virtually? Who would have thought a year ago when we were together at LegCon in March in DC, that we would be speaking to you guys virtually together, giving us. This is something that Leslie talks about all the time. She says we can't go back. We'll never go back to the same thing or the same way that we've done in the past. And she has led this association with grace, passion, and grit. Now, she's a Texas girl. So if you know what grit means, you know that they get right down in there with those boots and they're ready to move and ready to go. She brought up the convention. We have a elementary special education teacher that is teacher of the year, and her name is Julia Ertabane. And she's amazing, and she's passionate when she talks about the needs of all of our students, especially for the students with special needs. And so listening to her speak, listening to Leslie's mentor, Mr. Maxwell, and then listening to our inspiring other keynote speaker in our empowering workshops. This convention is going to be marvelous. We get to pass the baton, but we're going to continue the work that Leslie has started. Looking ahead in PTA, we will continue to do that. Our fearless leaders has taken us over this bridge, and she has said so many times, like I've said before, we'll never do things the same as we've done in the past, and we shouldn't. Times have changed, and we've become very strong. Adapting to this pandemic and pushing ourselves to do things differently has shown our resilience, our passion, and our commitment to this association that we love so much. And you see, when Leslie says community, she believes it. We have this unique opportunity right now to continue to redefine PTA in an inclusive way. Over the last 2 years, we worked on diversity, equity, and inclusion. Whether it was through our programming, our policies, our grant opportunities, we did it intentionally. And so should you. In the past year, we not focus on so much fundraising events, but we're currently focusing on connecting with one another as we move forward to continue our focus. Caring about our mental and emotional health of our children, teachers, and families has been and will continue to be one of our priorities. I'm so proud to be a part of this association that has never missed a beat while assessing the needs and providing support to our families. I've been blessed and humbled to walk beside and work beside Leslie when we've done this work for the last 2 years. And together, we will continue to advocate for our children and serve our communities and create a kind and loving society for our children. That is what PTA does. We advocate and serve by engaging and empowering everyone to be the voice for our children. We leave no one behind. Nelson Mandela once said, "History will judge us by the difference we make in everyday lives of our children." I hope you will continue to lend your commitment, dedication, passion, and service to our children and families and our communities, and most importantly, our PTAs, because we're a family, we're a community, and we need to continue to change history because our kids are depending on us. Thank you for having me. Leslie, thank you for allowing me to join you. And Janice, thank you for being a gracious host and an amazing state PTA president for Washington.
Thank you. And thank you both for joining us, not just right now, but you've helped with workshops and helped with other things throughout the convention. And I've gotten a chance to work with both of you over the last couple of years. And Leslie's been an amazing mentor to me and an amazing leader for all of us. And I know that Anna will be the same. So, and I'm registered, I'm coming to National Convention, and I hope we'll have a good delegation from Washington. So thank you.